When was the last time you heard anyone talk about BMW motorcycles with the energy they used to create? Almost never. And that says everything. There was a time when BMW Motorrad represented the pinnacle of motorcycle engineering. Their R-Series dominated adventure touring. The GS line became synonymous with serious riders who valued precision over flash. For decades, BMW motorcycles felt like a guarantee. German engineering, reliability, and a community of enthusiasts who swore by the brand. But momentum only lasts if complexity does not overwhelm purpose. Complexity crept in and engineering turned into over-engineering. Maintenance costs soared beyond reason. Electric ventures failed spectacularly. The C-Evolution sold fewer than 10,000 units before disappearing entirely. The name stayed familiar, but the influence faded. So today's question is simple. How did BMW Motorrad rise to engineering excellence? And what pushed it into a $2 billion complexity collapse? The story of BMW Motorrad begins in post-World War I Germany, where a devastated nation faced strict industrial restrictions. The Treaty of Versailles had effectively neutered Germany's aircraft industry, forcing BMW, originally an aircraft engine manufacturer, to pivot dramatically. This pivot would become the foundation of motorcycle history. In 1923, engineer Max Friz unveiled the R32, a motorcycle that would establish BMW's design DNA for the next century. The R32 was not just another motorcycle. It was a revolutionary engineering statement featuring a horizontally opposed twin-cylinder engine, what we now call the Boxer engine, and a shaft drive system instead of the standard chain. This was not mere aesthetic preference. It was practical German engineering at its finest. The Boxer configuration provided perfect primary balance, a lower center of gravity, and exceptional cooling. The shaft drive eliminated the maintenance headaches of chain systems that required constant adjustment and lubrication. What made this design truly remarkable was not just its technical innovation, but its philosophical approach. While other manufacturers were building motorcycles as recreational vehicles or racing platforms, BMW was engineering transportation solutions. The R32's design prioritized reliability, serviceability, and function. This was not a showpiece. It was a machine built to work in real conditions, day after day, regardless of weather or terrain. Through the 1930s, BMW expanded this practical engineering philosophy with models like the R12 and R17. These were not flashy status symbols. They were serious transportation tools built with mechanical precision that reflected Germany's industrial renaissance. The R12 became the first production motorcycle with hydraulic dampened and telescopic front forks, a technology that virtually every motorcycle would eventually adopt. When World War II erupted, BMW's motorcycle production shifted to military purposes, with the R75 sidecar outfit becoming legendary for its durability in the harshest battlefield conditions. Even as Germany's cities burned under Allied bombing, BMW's engineering principles remained intact. The goal was to build machines that work reliably when everything around them is failing. Post-war rebuilding could have broken this philosophy. Germany was again devastated, its industrial capacity shattered. Yet from these ashes, BMW's motorcycle division slowly reconstructed its identity. The occupation authorities initially restricted BMW to producing simple machines under 250 cubic centimeters. But this constraint only reinforced the company's focus on engineering excellence with impractical limitations. By the 1950s, BMW motorcycles had fully re-established their reputation for bulletproof reliability and practical engineering. The R50 and R69 models showcased BMW's commitment to durability and function over flashy styling. These were not motorcycles that promised excitement through visual drama. They delivered it through engineering integrity and the promise that they would always get you home. This historical foundation established the core BMW Motorrad identity, serious machines built by serious engineers for serious riders. While other manufacturers chased fashion, BMW pursued function. While competitors designed for the showroom floor, BMW designed for the open road. This was not just transportation. It was transportation elevated to an engineering art form. The 1970s marked the beginning of BMW Motorrad's golden age, a period when engineering excellence aligned perfectly with market needs. As motorcycle culture expanded beyond racers and rebels to include professionals and adventurers, BMW's philosophy found its ideal audience. The R75 5 Series, launched in 1969, represented BMW's most significant redesign in decades. It maintained the boxer engine and shaft drive fundamentals, but modernized every aspect of the machine. Electric starting, improved suspension, and frame geometry that delivered stability at sustained highway speeds made these motorcycles ideal for the emerging long-distance touring rider. What BMW understood, that many competitors missed, was that serious riders wanted machines built for serious use. The R75 5, R96, and later R100 series were not designed to win at stoplight drag races or to turn heads in parking lots. They were engineered for the rider who needed to cover 500 miles in a day, in any weather, and be ready to do it again tomorrow. This practical excellence created an organic cult following. BMW riders did not need flashy advertising campaigns. They had something more valuable: reliability experiences. Stories circulated of BMWs reaching 100,000 miles with basic maintenance, when Japanese alternatives were considered used up at 30,000. Professionals, such as doctors, engineers, and professors, became the brand's most vocal ambassadors, creating an association between BMW motorcycles and thoughtful sophistication. By the mid-1980s, BMW Motorrad had solidified its position as the thinking rider's choice. The premium pricing was justified not by marketing hype, but by engineering substance. A BMW motorcycle cost more because it delivered more, not in flash or raw acceleration numbers, but in the quality that matters most to serious riders: dependable long-term performance. The RR100 GS Paris-Dakar model became an aspirational icon for riders worldwide. Its distinctive beak fender, high ground clearance, and rugged utility embodied a promise. This machine could take you anywhere, and more importantly, it could bring you back. While Japanese manufacturers focused on horsepower numbers and Italian brands emphasized style, BMW built machines that worked when others failed. This period represented BMW Motorrad at its philosophical purest. The engineering served the rider's needs rather than the engineer's ego or the marketing department's desires. Complexity was employed only when it served function. Systems were designed to be maintained by owners with basic tools. The boxer engine cylinder stuck out in the airstream, not for style, but for cooling efficiency. Every design decision answered a practical question. The golden era created more than just sales. It built a relationship between brand and rider that seemed unbreakable. BMW owners did not simply purchase motorcycles. They joined a community defined by shared values of engineering appreciation and practical adventure. This was not fashion, it was identity. The first warning signs appeared in the late 1980s, though few recognized them at the time. Success had brought attention, and with attention came competition. Japanese manufacturers, particularly Honda and Yamaha, had noticed the profitable niche BMW had created and began developing alternatives. Honda's Africa Twin and Yamaha's Tenere offered similar adventure touring capability at lower price points with simpler maintenance requirements. While these early competitors could not match BMW's engineering sophistication, they revealed a dangerous truth. Much of what riders valued about adventure motorcycles could be delivered without BMW's complexity and cost. BMW's response would prove fateful. Rather than simplifying to compete on value, they doubled down on sophistication. The R100 GS evolved into the R100 GS with a new oil-cooled boxer engine featuring 4 valves per cylinder and sophisticated electronic fuel injection. The engineering was impressive, but it marked a subtle philosophical shift. Where previous BMW innovations served clear rider needs, these new features primarily showcased engineering prowess. Internal market research began showing troubling trends. Younger riders, even affluent ones, were increasingly choosing based on ownership cost rather than initial engineering excellence. Scheduled maintenance that once required basic tools and mechanical knowledge now demanded specialized diagnostic equipment and dealer visits. The motorcycles were becoming more capable, but less owner-serviceable. By the early 2000s, the warning signs had become unmistakable. Independent mechanics were declining BMW warranty work, citing complexity that required excessive training and specialized tools. Riders reported postponing maintenance due to costs that could exceed $1,000 for routine service intervals. The engineering excellence remained, but it was increasingly hidden beneath layers of complexity that served no obvious rider benefit. Around 2005, BMW Motorrad stood at a philosophical crossroads. The adventure touring market they had created was booming, but competition was intensifying. Japanese alternatives were becoming more sophisticated while maintaining reliability and value. European competitors like KTM were emerging with focused, purpose-built machines that appealed to serious off-road enthusiasts. BMW's leadership made a decision that would fundamentally alter the brand's trajectory. They chose to compete through technological sophistication rather than practical reliability. This was not a single announcement or product launch, but a series of engineering and marketing choices that collectively redefined what BMW motorcycles would represent. The new generation of R1200 GS motorcycles exemplified this shift. While keeping the Boxer engine and adventure touring capability, they incorporated multiple electronic control systems that required specialized diagnostic equipment. Traction control, ride modes, electronic suspension adjustment, and integrated ABS created motorcycles of unprecedented capability, but also unprecedented complexity. These features were not inherently problematic. Many improved safety and comfort. The critical mistake was making these systems interdependent and proprietary. Where previous BMW motorcycles could be maintained by knowledgeable owners or independent mechanics, these new machines increasingly required dealer servicing. Maintenance that had once been an afternoon project with basic tools now demanded computerized diagnostics and specialized training. This technological arms race extended beyond the GS line to the entire model range. The S1000 RR sport bike launched with industry-leading electronics that outperformed Japanese competitors, but required complete system integration that made modifications or repairs increasingly dealer-dependent. The KN600 touring models featured electronic systems so interdependent that a failure in one could disable seemingly unrelated functions. Perhaps the most telling decision came in 2014 with the launch of the C-Evolution electric scooter. This venture targeted urban mobility, a market segment BMW had little experience with, and reflected a fundamental misunderstanding of both electric vehicle technology and urban rider needs. The C-Evolution featured sophisticated battery management and motor control systems, but offered limited range at an extraordinary price, nearly 3 times higher than combustion alternatives. This electric initiative revealed how far BMW had strayed from its practical engineering roots. Rather than developing electric technology that served rider needs, they created a technological showcase that prioritized engineering sophistication over practical utility. The C-Evolution could have demonstrated BMW's commitment to sustainable mobility. Instead, it became a symbol of misaligned priorities. Internally, engineering teams found themselves increasingly focused on feature development rather than reliability improvement. Meeting emissions regulations and implementing new electronic capabilities consumed resources that might otherwise have addressed maintenance concerns or reliability issues. The engineering culture that had once prioritized the rider experience now centered on technological demonstration. This shift was not limited to product development. Marketing messages also evolved. Where BMW once advertised reliability and function, they began to emphasize luxury positioning and technological superiority. The practical adventure motorcycles that had built the brand's reputation were reimagined as premium lifestyle products. The messaging targeted aspiration over utilization, status over function. What made the decision particularly damaging was its misalignment with BMW's core customer base. The serious riders who had built BMW's reputation valued practical excellence and long-term reliability. They appreciated technology that served clear purposes, but rejected complexity for its own sake. As BMW chased technological sophistication, they began to alienate the very enthusiasts who had been their most effective brand ambassadors. By 2015, the transformation was complete. BMW motorcycles were no longer the practical, reliable machines of the golden era. They had become technological showcases, impressive in capability, but increasingly removed from the practical excellence that had defined the brand. The question was not whether these motorcycles were impressive engineering achievements. It was whether they still delivered the value that had built BMW's reputation. The consequences of BMW's strategic shift emerged gradually but inexorably. The first and most immediate impact came in maintenance costs. and rising complexity. Scheduled service intervals that once cost a few $100s now regularly exceeded $1,000, with major services approaching $2,000. These were not arbitrary price increases. They reflected the genuine complexity of maintaining systems that required specialized diagnostic equipment and extensive technician training. Online forums documented this maintenance explosion in painful detail. Riders reported $300 to replace simple sensors, $500 for basic fluid changes that required computer resets, and multi-$1,000 repair bills when integrated systems failed beyond warranty periods. What had once been affordable, regular maintenance, became financial crises for owners. The C-Evolution electric scooter became the most visible symbol of BMW's misalignment with market realities. Despite significant marketing investment and prominent placement at motorcycle shows, the model sold fewer than 10,000 units worldwide before being quietly discontinued. The project represented not just a product failure, but a philosophical failure, a machine engineered for engineering's sake rather than customer needs. Perhaps most damaging was the erosion of BMW's hard-won reputation in the adventure touring segment they had created. The R1200 GS and later R1250 GS remained capable machines, but riders increasingly questioned whether the capability justified the complexity and cost. Japanese alternatives like the Honda Africa Twin and the Yamaha Tenere, once considered inferior to BMW's offerings, began gaining market share by offering 80% of the capability at 60% of the ownership cost. The backlash was not limited to new motorcycle purchases. It affected the entire ownership ecosystem. Independent mechanics who had previously specialized in BMW service began declining work on newer models, citing the investment required in specialized diagnostic equipment and the liability concerns of interdependent systems. This reduced service options further drove up maintenance costs and inconvenienced owners in areas without dealership coverage. Online motorcycle communities reflected this shifting sentiment. Where BMW riders had once been the brand's most effective ambassadors, these forums increasingly featured cautionary tales. Longtime owners detailed their decisions to abandon the brand after decades of loyalty. New riders shared research that led them to choose alternatives, despite initial interest in BMW's heritage. Dealer networks began feeling the pressure as customers delayed or avoided service due to cost concerns. The sales model that had sustained BMW for decades, premium initial pricing supported by loyal, repeat customers, began to falter as ownership experiences no longer justified the premium positioning. Some dealers reported increased warranty claim denials from BMW headquarters, creating tension between frontline representatives and corporate decision-makers. By 2020, the market consequences became undeniable. While BMW maintained sales numbers through aggressive incentives and marketing, their cultural influence had declined dramatically. The adventure touring category they had created was now led by others. KTM claimed the serious off-road adventure segment, Honda captured the practical mid-range adventure market, and Harley-Davidson's Pan America emerged as the surprise American alternative. Perhaps most telling was the secondary market transformation. Older BMW motorcycles from the golden era, particularly air-cooled R models from the 1980s and the 1990s, began appreciating in value, sometimes selling for more than their original purchase prices. Meanwhile, newer models depreciated rapidly once out of warranty, reflecting market concerns about long-term ownership costs. This inverted value curve told the story more clearly than any sales report or market analysis could. The financial consequences eventually became impossible to ignore. BMW Motorrad's contribution to the parent company's profitability declined despite increased unit sales, as warranty costs, development expenses, and sales incentives ate into margins. What had once been a reliable profit center became a concerning liability, especially as the automotive division faced its own electrification challenges. By 2023, the culmination of BMW Motorrad's strategic missteps resulted in what internal documents reportedly called a complexity crisis. Financial results revealed staggering losses approaching $2 billion in the motorcycle division, despite strong performance in the automotive segment. These losses were not simply the result of economic headwinds or pandemic disruptions. They reflected fundamental problems with the product strategy and business model. Executive departures followed, as parent company leadership questioned the motorcycle division's direction. Strategic reviews attempted to identify corrective measures, but the challenges proved more systemic than anticipated. The technological complexity that had been added over years could not simply be engineered away without comprehensive redesigns and long development cycles. Attempts to simplify the product line while maintaining premium positioning created contradictory objectives. Removing features that justified premium pricing would undermine the value proposition, while maintaining complexity perpetuated the maintenance concerns driving customers away. This was a genuine catch-22, showing how thoroughly BMW had painted itself into a strategic corner. Competitor market share gains became impossible to ignore, particularly in the adventure touring segment BMW had once dominated. KTM's Adventure Series, Honda's Africa Twin, Yamaha's Tenere 700, and Harley-Davidson's Pan America were taking sales from BMW's GS models. These competitors did not simply copy BMW's approach. They identified weaknesses in BMW's strategy and positioned their offerings to address rider concerns about complexity, maintenance, and long-term ownership costs. The brand reputation shifted from reliable engineering to expensive complexity. Where BMW had once received deferential coverage, highlighting engineering excellence, reviews now routinely questioned whether technological sophistication justified the ownership experience. The phrase, "yes but," began appearing in virtually every BMW review, acknowledging engineering achievement while questioning practical value. Perhaps most painfully for a brand built on engineering integrity, reliability survey rankings showed BMW Motorcycles falling below average. Issues that would have been unthinkable during the golden era, such as electrical gremlins, sensor failures, and electronic malfunctions, became associated with the brand that had once represented bulletproof dependability. Reliability had become a core concern. Dealer networks faced their own challenges as service departments became overwhelmed with complexity-related issues, while sales departments struggled to maintain volume. The business model that had sustained BMW dealerships, premium sales supported by regular service, became strained as ownership periods shortened and customers sought alternatives for maintenance. Service departments were under unprecedented pressure. By 2024, BMW Motorrad faced existential questions about its future direction. Could they return to the principles that had built their reputation, or had they traveled too far down the path of complexity? The motorcycles remained impressive engineering achievements, but the brand that had once represented the perfect balance of capability and practicality now symbolized technological excess and maintenance concerns. The situation felt unmistakably existential. The aftermath was not just about financial losses or market share, it was about identity. BMW Motorrad had lost the clear sense of purpose that had guided the brand through its golden era. Engineering excellence remained, but it no longer served the rider-focused philosophy that had made BMW motorcycles special. The machines had become showcases for what engineers could create, rather than tools for what riders wanted to experience. BMW Motorrad's journey from engineering excellence to complexity crisis offers clear lessons for any brand balancing technology and consumer value. 3 critical mistakes stand out in this analysis. The first and most fundamental error was confusing engineering excellence with technological complexity. BMW's heritage was built on solving practical problems with elegant engineering solutions. The Boxer engine was not complex for complexity's sake. Its configuration solved specific issues of balance, cooling, and maintenance access. The shaft drive eliminated chain maintenance while improving reliability. These engineering choices served rider needs rather than engineering pride. As competition increased, BMW responded by adding technological features rather than improving core performance. Electronic suspension adjustment, multiple riding modes, and integrated vehicle systems impressed in press releases, but often complicated real-world ownership. Features that demonstrated engineering capability replaced improvements that enhanced rider experience. The motorcycles became increasingly impressive as technological showcases, but less satisfying as practical transportation. This mistake reveals a critical business lesson. Engineering should serve user needs, not organizational capabilities. BMW had world-class engineers who could create remarkable technological systems, but they failed to ask whether these systems actually improved the ownership experience. The value of technology is not measured by what it can do, but by what problems it solves for users. The second critical mistake was ignoring total ownership cost in favor of initial sale price. BMW motorcycles had always commanded premium prices, but during the golden era, this premium was justified by superior durability and lower long-term costs. Riders paid more upfront but saved over the ownership period through reduced maintenance requirements and longer service life. As complexity increased, this value equation inverted. The premium purchase price became just the beginning of an ownership experience marked by escalating maintenance costs and dealer dependency. A motorcycle that costs 20% more than competitors at purchase might cost 100% more to maintain over 5 years. For a product category where many consumers keep vehicles for extended periods, this shift fundamentally undermined the value proposition. This mistake highlights an essential truth about premium positioning. Higher prices must deliver higher value, not just higher complexity. BMW forgot that motorcycles, even premium ones, are tools rather than status symbols for most serious riders. When the cost of the tool exceeds the value it delivers, rational consumers seek alternatives, regardless of brand heritage or engineering impression. The third critical mistake was venturing into the electric vehicle market without understanding the segment's needs or value drivers. The C-Evolution electric scooter targeted urban mobility users, but failed to recognize what these users actually valued. Urban riders prioritize practicality, storage, range, and purchase price, none of which the C-Evolution delivered competitively. Instead, it offered sophisticated battery management and premium materials at a price point that made no economic sense for the target user. This mistake demonstrates the danger of applying existing brand philosophy to new market segments without adapting to different user needs. BMW approached electric motorcycles as they had approached premium combustion motorcycles, as showcases for engineering capability rather than solutions for specific transportation problems. The resulting product impressed engineers but failed to attract customers. Successful competitors offer instructive contrasts to these mistakes. Honda maintained mechanical simplicity while improving performance in their Africa Twin, creating an adventure motorcycle with 80% of what BMW offered at 60% of the ownership cost. Yamaha focused on rider experience over technological showcase with their Tenere 700, deliberately omitting electronic complexity to create a more accessible, maintainable adventure platform. Even Harley-Davidson, not traditionally known for adventure touring, recognized the opportunity in BMW's missteps and developed the Pan America with a careful balance of technology and accessibility. The broader business lesson is both simple and profound. Stay connected to your customers' fundamental needs. Technology should enable experiences, not replace them. Features should solve problems, not create them. And perhaps most importantly, the value exchange between brand and customer must remain balanced. Premium prices must deliver premium experiences, not just premium specifications. For BMW Motorrad, the path forward requires difficult questions. Can they recapture the practical excellence that built their reputation without abandoning the technological advancement that defines modern motorcycles? Can they simplify without sacrificing the sophistication that justifies premium positioning? Can they reconnect with the rider-focused engineering philosophy that created their greatest successes? The challenge isn't unique to BMW. Every established brand faces the tension between heritage and progress, between maintaining core identity and evolving with market demands. But BMW's story demonstrates the consequences of allowing this balance to tilt too far toward complexity at the expense of practicality. Do you agree BMW lost its way through complexity, or is premium engineering worth the ownership cost? Subscribe. The luxury landscape is shifting, and you will not want to miss what comes next.